Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Citizen Sleeper 2, the Hexport demo. This is something that I have been very excited to try. It was available during the Steam Next Fest, and I'm just going to play through it here. I'm going in almost completely blind. I absolutely adored Citizen Sleeper 1. There is a full playthrough on the channel. There's a playlist somewhere. And we're just going to jump in and see what Citizen Sleeper 2 is like. Going for a new game. Ooh, a difficulty. Can be changed at any time from the pause menu. For those focused on the story. Broken dice are worth 1, higher stress tolerance, and death is disabled. Oh, that doesn't sound very fun, does it? The default difficulty for those happy to be challenged. Broken dice cannot be used. Standard stress tolerance. Death incurs a significant permanent penalty. More dangerous. Those who want a tough and tactical challenge with no second chances. Less repairs require more components, very low stress tolerance, and double energy depletion. Let's go with risky. Okay, so we have some classes here. We can be an operator. Operator sleepers are built to work with drones and remote machines over local networks to perform corporate resource extraction from a distance. Operators have expertise in working with interfaces and computer systems that are more physically fragile than other sleepers. Their reboot skill allows them to hack their own systems to re-roll dice, a risky but potentially powerful move. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. I don't know what this shows. I guess this is our skills, our engineering and interface. Our endurance is just none. Intuition is up to 1 here, and engage is up to 1. What's the next class? An extractor. Extractor sleepers are built to work at the coal face of corporate resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Extractors have a high level of physical endurance, but their confidence means they struggle with tasks requiring intuition. Their rally skill allows them to motivate those in their team, boosting their crew dice. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. Oh, our intuition is gone here. We have rally here? What do we have for reboot? Well, I believe when I played Citizen Sleeper 1, I played as an operator. Wait, I can go this way? What's this way? A machinist. Machinist sleepers are built to repair and modify automated systems used in corporate resource extraction. Machinists are very skilled engineers, but their isolated work means they often struggle with tasks requiring a direct approach or social engagement. Their focus skill allows them to focus on a single task and boost their dice to excel in it. Sleepers assigned to machinist work are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. Okay. Let's go with operator. I feel like that fits my normal way of doing things, and let's confirm our class. In the moment before waking, the dark space before conscious thought, you struggle to find the pieces of yourself. Usually, these pieces come with a particular cadence, each appearing sequentially, like the boot process of an old terminal. First your body, artificial, compromised, but relaying sense data all the same. Then it's context, the breeze of air filtration, the soft contact of your birth in 0G. Then emotion, coming into focus, coming into your body, bringing with it that first instinct, the one that has framed your past 100 cycles. Fear. But that familiar sequence does not arrive. Instead, you are unmoored in space, your body distant, your context silent. Even your emotions somehow obscured and scattered among all that disarray. Only one familiar thing arrives. The fear. It is a scrambled, panicked, fear. The drowning fear, the falling fear, the fear that makes you reach desperately for any stable point. It is the fear that tells you something is wrong, something is very wrong with you. Wake up, sleeper. The voice is whispered in your ear, an act that makes you suddenly aware of your head pulsing in pain, your body rigid with tension. Sleeper. A familiar name. A mind copied, emulated, a body built, implanted. One person sleeping until their debt is worked away, their double being made to work, to be consumed, and eventually to be destroyed. A proxy, an emulation, a sleeper. That is what you are. But you escaped. You remember that now. Broke free from your corporate creators, Essenharp, in search of a future. You cannot remember the details of your escape, but you know the fear has been with you ever since you did. All of a sudden, you remember you have eyes, and your eyes flicker open. Pale eyes in a pale face. Lane. The name comes with its own specific sensation of fear. One you recoil from instinctively. Sorry to interrupt. A sharp smirk. But this ends here. You search your mind for more than a name. Is that how you reward me for my generosity? Lane is leaning over your horizontal floating body, looking down into your eyes. I took you in, protected you, gave you a purpose. You try to look away, to the corners of your vision, to find something you understand. Your body does not respond. But I suppose that wasn't enough. He reaches into the pocket of his jacket and retrieves a small vial. This wasn't enough. The vial glitters. This object you know, and have known for a long time. Stabilizer, the drug that keeps your artificial body, your emulated mind from inevitable decay. The only balm for your planned obsolescence. The liquid roiling in the vial fills you with disgust. Lane pockets the vial, but it will be wasted on you now, after what you have done to this body of yours. He looks at you with palpable disgust. Lane's eyes scan your body, and as they do, you become aware of the wires and tubes attached to you. Those that were meant to free you from your dependence, from the stabilizer, and the control it grants Lane. They are free, you piece of shit! They don't need you anymore! The voice comes from somewhere behind Lane's head. It is a voice you know, but when you search your mind to try to understand why, you find only dizzying darkness. Shut him up! Lane barks the command, and you hear the sounds of impact, of pain from elsewhere in the room. You try to move your limbs again, and this time you feel a flicker, the twitch of a finger. You feel the extension and compression of synthetic muscle. Free, are you? Lane smirks. You were free when I disabled your tracker, when I gave you the stabilizer you needed. He scans your body with angry eyes. Now you aren't free. You're just broken. I had such big plans for you, Sleeper. I invested in you. Lane grips your arm hard, and you feel a jolt of reaction. You will the arm to move, but you have ruined all that. Lane speaks louder over the sound of struggle behind him. I will try to preserve your body, of course. I have my own uses for it, but your emulation? You feel one of his hands searching behind your head. He finds and grips the thick cable running down into the port at the base of your skull. I will burn that out. Lane jerks forward, slamming across your body and spinning away out of sight. You feel yourself rolling, the cables plugged into you looping and wrapping around your limbs. Then, you feel hands steadying you, pulling cables. You glance around wildly to see someone diligently unplugging you. You meet his eyes. "Hey!" He waves a hand in your dazed face. "We need to move. Lane won't be out long." He unloops a cable from around your wrist. "Sleeper, help me out here." You blink, slowly. You know this person. He leans over you and you feel his hands on the connector, flicking switches, releasing locks. "Come on, come on, come on!" He tugs the connector clear and pulls you up. You see the room that you are in for the first time, filled with tech and terminals, wires waving everywhere, all lit by big windows looking out on an impossibly bright, screen-filled street beyond. In the corner, you see the dark shape of a floating body, surrounded by a glittering constellation of crimson baubles. Is that blood? Move! You are wrestled and shoved towards the door, which slides open in front of you. And then you are out in all that brightness, all that movement, gliding hard towards some unknown destination. You come to a stop in a dark alley. The one who guided you here, pausing, catching his breath. He doubles over beside a massive life support unit that sends a lukewarm breeze across your skin. You stare at him, trying to recall anything about him. You notice his tattered jacket, his lightweight clothes. You remember this station runs hot, something about power that flows through the place. He looks up and meets your eye. "What's going on, sleeper?" He wipes sweat from his forehead, and it floats away in a swarm of spheres. "Talk to me." "Who are you again?" You see a concerned frown cross his face. "Don't mess with me, sleeper. That's not funny." He comes closer, eyeing you carefully. "What station are we on?" He narrows his eyes and waits for the answer. You close your eyes, trying to recall. You force your way through the dark to the image of a station. No, a city growing on the back of a vast set of hexagonal solar cells, shadowed by them. You open your eyes. Dark side. The word leaves your mouth like an exhale, an instinct. Before you heard yourself sound it out, you didn't know it was there. He sighs. "And me? Who am I?" You see something like fear in his eyes. Panic, perhaps. You stare hard at his face. The slight upturn of his mouth. The intensity of his stare. Nothing comes. He closes his eyes and drops his head, putting a hand to his temple. "Ah, the reboot." He is speaking quietly to himself. Lane interrupted the process and he lifts his head and stares at you. "We need to keep going. We need to leave." He turns and kicks off down the alley. "Come on, the rig can't be far." As you are led through the passages and serviceways of the station, you try to recall your life here. The texture, the temperature of Darkside feels familiar, but you struggle to pin specific memories to it. Focusing hard, you recall waking up in these passages, cycle after cycle. The rhythms of the station flowing over you along with the crowds. You recall desperation and the slow decay of your body that caused it. Then Lane, those pale eyes, offering you a glittering vial, stabilizer, the promise of supplying more for your work. A deal he locked you into like a cage. There your memory fails you, but in the dark beyond, that moment, the residue of panic, of fear, remains. You were Lane's prisoner, Lane's plaything, you shudder in the cold passage. Hold! Your guide holds up a hand, and you stop your glide using the wall. Ahead you see the tunnel that opens up into a wide open bay, with a few doors leading to cylindrical tunnels. The docks. They're watching the rig. He nods towards the docks, and you see one of the doors has a couple of figures flanking it. One covered in ornate tattoos, the other with bright silver implants along their cheekbones. Atsubo, Lane's guys. He looks at you and shakes his head in frustration. All this, it's not coming back to you, is it? He places a hand on his chest. I'm Seraphine, alright? He looks pained when he speaks. Lane, he was our captor, both of us. We did this so we could escape. We needed to reboot you, to break your dependence on stabilizer. He pauses. You know what that is, right? You nod, meekly. But Lane interrupted me back there, and the reboot didn't complete, and he sighs and shakes his head. We can still make this work. He looks back at the docks. I'll lead them away. You get the docking bridge open. If we make it to the rig, I know how to get us in. Got that? He searches your face for a sign or recognition. What's the rig? Seraphine looks annoyed. A ship. Our ship. Or at least it soon will be. Lane assigned it to us when we were on jobs for him. Get that door open. He pats you on the shoulder. I know you can do this. Seraphine kicks off hard and glides into the docks. Over here, shitheads! He bellows to the guards as he barrels through. They immediately push off from the wall, giving chase. Oh, we have a tutorial. During scenes you may encounter skill checks, where you can perform certain actions using your skills. Like the dice actions you will encounter later, skill checks have a positive, neutral or negative outcome. The better the rating of the skill, the more likely you will succeed on a check. The odds of success are displayed when you select the check. See more information in the guide. Oh, I see. So we now actually use our skills that we have rather than just what dice numbers you have. You wait a breath, then glide across to the door they were guarding. You look, already panicked at the tightly sealed door, its control panel locked out. You hear a shout from somewhere nearby. You need to get it open. Right, well, since we are the operator, our best bet here is to hack the door. And we got a positive outcome. You shift to the control panel, your fingers dancing across the keys. Without thinking, you access the maintenance layer and trigger a fire safety venting procedure. The panel drones out a klaxon and the door pops open with a hiss. Go! Go! Seraphine flies past you, through the doorway, into the docking tunnel. You turn to see the two guards approaching fast across the docks, and quickly glide after Seraphine. Seraphine is already at the rig's door, inputting an entry code. The rig's doors scissor open, and you both rush inside. Quickly! Seraphine grabs you by the arm and drags you up to the cockpit, the ship's layout hazy in your mind. He dumps you in a flight seat and straps himself into his own. You see him tap a series of buttons and, as he does, talking to himself. Come on. The rig's drive rumbles into life, and Seraphine slams a button on the console. You feel the force of the ship's acceleration as it pulls away. Hey look, we have some dice now. I don't know why I have Xbox controller glyphs. I think my controller's plugged in. I'm playing with mouse and keyboard. Just in case you wondered. Because I suddenly did when I saw push left analog stick. Anyway, the rig. As the ship glides into place on the connecting bridge, its automatic systems nudged there by the port's docking protocols, you feel a sense of relief. Seraphine burned hard out of Darkside, and you dropped in and out of consciousness in your seat as the rig made its way across the belt. But now, with open space between you and Lane, you feel fresher, more awake. Seraphine breaks the silence. "We're good, Sleeper." His eyes don't leave the monitor, and you realise this part of your escape is routine for him. You and he must have docked this ship countless times in your work for Lane. The problem is, you don't remember any of them. "We made it," he whispers, closing his eyes and letting out a sigh. "We certainly did." He turns, and you see a pained look on his face, as if remembering something difficult. Had you said this exact thing to him before, in this same situation? "Are you okay?" He looks at you, chewing one side of his lip, searching your face. "Not really," he puffs. Seraphine reaches up, flicking through a set of switches in a practiced fashion, completing a shutdown. You watch, a little frustrated with your own uselessness. Running the rig, you realise, is just another thing you've forgotten. A clunk that runs through the walls of the ship is followed by a short, percussive alarm tone from the pilot's console. Docking complete. Seraphine kicks off from his seat, twisting as he glides past you towards the back of the cockpit. His hands find the rails on either side of the door, and he pauses, facing into the corridor beyond. He turns back to you, backlit in cold cyan. "We need a plan." He glances around. "Lane's not going to let us slip away quietly," he sighs. We need to talk? We keep running? Or we hide here? Let's go with we need to talk. Seraphine furrows his brow. "Not now, Sleeper. We need to forget." He flinches, the word coming out wrong. "We need to focus on something other than..." He pauses again, unsure. "Us," he sighs. "We need to survive this thing first. Then maybe we talk." "Alright, that's fine by me." Seraphine nods, but the tension remains. "We've bought ourselves some time." He glances through the cockpit window with the blinking lights of the station. "You may not remember Hexport, but I do. And there's plenty of opportunities here for us. If we can keep our heads down..." He turns back to the corridor. "That's what we'll do." Pushes off and glides towards the main lock, and you follow, pulling yourself along hand over hand in 0G. "We've already emptied a tank on this thing." He slaps a hand against the ship's inside. "So we need to refuel, and that won't be cheap. But if you and I know one thing, Sleeper, it's how to work. I'm going to get myself reacquainted, see if I can turn up any old connections, people that might throw us an easy contract. You," he glances back over his shoulder, "you keep out of trouble." "Low profile." Got it. Seraphine stops at the airlock, stopping a reboot halfway through. He pulls a worn crew jacket from a locker and starts putting it on. "We don't know what that did to you." He jams an arm into a sleeve. "I don't want you passing out in..." He stops. "It'll take both of us." Seraphine sighs. "I hate it when you're right." He grabs another crew jacket and thrusts it at you. "Just put the damn hood up, will you?" You take it and slip it on. "Thank you." Seraphine nods. He stabs at the button to open the lock. The inner door hisses open and Seraphine glides through. Wait for a little bit, then leave. Anyone looking for us will be looking for two people travelling together. He looks at you in your worn crew jacket. A limited disguise for what is clearly a sleeper. We meet back here later. Any trouble? Same thing. Meet here. He takes another look at your disguise and shakes his head. Ah, this is a shitty idea. He gives you one last look. Maybe find yourself something to eat. Suddenly you recognise Seraphine's instinct to look after you. A flash of a relationship now lost for the reboot. Catch! Seraphine throws a handful of something towards you. You manage to grab the projectiles. When you open your hand, you see a stack of cryo chits. He should get you some food. We'll need some more for fuel and supplies, he grimaces. That means odd jobs on the station. For both of us. Seraphine kicks off and glides down the docking bridge. Don't go too far, alright? He shouts as he leaves. Take it slow. And with that, he is gone, leaving the connecting bridge and heading into the docking concourse of Hexport. You wait for a moment, in the silence. Let's think about Seraphine. It's hard to know what's going on inside Seraphine's head. Here he is, on some hapless escape plan with a friend who can't remember a thing about him. You try to imagine how close you both must have been for him to agree to this thing. But it is painful to think about. That's all gone now. Anyway, all you can do is move on. You shake the thoughts from your head and pull the jacket tight. Let's see what Hexport has to offer. You kick off and glide into the port. Welcome to Citizen Sleeper 2. The game runs in cycles, during which you can perform actions with your dice, use cryo to buy food, fuel, supplies and items, progress clocks towards new scenes and events. Nice. You can use the scroll wheel to look up and down here. It's quite a lot smaller than the previous place we were. Alright, so here is the rig. Our ship here. The rig is your ship and home in Starward Belt. While the rig is docked at the hub, there are multiple areas you can visit. Bunks use dice to reduce stress. The galley use supplies to regain energy. Other locations will unlock as you play. While the rig is in dock at a hub, your crew will also help to gather resources to contribute to the upkeep of the ship. You can choose which resources they should focus on in the crew action menu to the left. You have a random chance of acquiring it at the beginning of the following cycle. Interesting. This clock is the cycle clock. It'll progress towards an event. Yes. So we're on the run, and each one of these is is them finding us, basically, I think. A new task. We can either ask them to get odd jobs, scavenge fuel, or scavenge supplies. Let's go with scavenge fuel, I guess. Can we have a look at the bunks? Sometimes it's necessary to rest, or at least try to. In the compact bunks of the rig, this will help you reduce stress when you're not on a contract. Okay. And the galley. Supplies are typically saved for contracts, but when food isn't readily available, you've got to use what you've got to survive. Yep, makes sense. Right, so we have two places we can go to. The Hexport docks, or the Hexport exchange. Let's go to the docks. Okay, in Citizen Sleeper 2 you perform actions by assigning action dice to them, the same as the first Citizen Sleeper. The higher the dice number, the more likely you are to succeed in the action. Your dice will be modified by your skill. Your skill modifier for the action is displayed on the right and will reduce or increase the value of the dice assigned to the action. They have three outcomes: positive, negative and neutral. Also rated safe, risky or dangerous. The more dangerous an action, the more significant its rewards and its consequences. Yes, so here we are... Oof. We don't have the intuition and it's dangerous, so I guess we will try and talk to the crews. There are plenty of crews milling around the docks and moving cargo. It could be a good source of information. Let's use our 4 here. Gives us a 25% chance. Actually, before we do this, let's have a look at the exchange. Maybe there's something that's more, whoops, more for us. We can trade scrap. Trading scrap is all about identifying materials and cleaning up components. It's an engineer's job more than a trader's. That's not happening. Or we can impress the brokers with our interface skill. The data brokers are at the heart of the exchange. They show off their knowledge by discussing decryption. Maybe you can talk the talk. Right, so we need to pass this so many times. But here, our skill of interface has buffed our 4 dice to a 5 dice. But let's see what happens. Nice, we progressed a clock. Clocks track your progress towards both positive and negative events. This one is positive. If we use our other 5 here, that should force it to be 100% positive, and we should pass the rules of the exchange. And we've discovered a new location. Exchange buzzes with conversation of commerce. This is a place where contracts are found. We just need to look. We've unlocked the Hexport canteen and the Hexport trade hall. Let's go to the canteen. Here you can eat in exchange for cryo. Eating gives you energy and stops you starving. Different foods give different amounts of energy. How much money do we have? 43 money. Most trade halls have a canteen where they prepare their own dishes from the packed supplies they otherwise provide. Let's buy some food like we were recommended to. They gave us 4 energy? Well, I probably could have waited, huh? Oh well. Right, what is at the trade hall? We can buy supplies. The trade hall has a healthy stock of supplies. Stack grown veg, water, usually some extras all packaged up for the crews coming through. We can fill our supplies for 45. We can buy 1 for 15, and I think this is our supplies down here. Yeah, we have 2 out of 5. So we need 3 more. Fuel, though, we are completely out of. We need 50 to buy a full tank of fuel. I guess in order to find some work, we're going to have to go to the Hexport docks over here. We don't have a particularly good bonus in any of these, so let's use our 6 on... Should we do the dangerous one with a 100% positive outcome, because dangerous may have a better reward? Yeah, there we go. We discovered a new location. You notice the patterns, start to identify the signage and glyphs. The logic of Hexport unfolds. We only have 2 ones, which is a bit crap. But we have unlocked the Bends, a chaotic dockside bar. S&S, Star and Stoker, is a space gambling game played with custom magnetic dice. Chits are stashed in symbol-marked cans, and winning is ruthlessly luck-based. Yeah, not really my forte here. We can buy a Ben's Fry, a plastic bag of flash-fried, salt-flecked tubers. The Ben's Fry brings spacers back to the scattered tables of the bar, cycle after cycle. I feel like this is the food I probably should have bought. Right, so the only thing I really do have to do here is gamble, which probably not going to go well, or try and chat to the crews with a 1. Oh dear. Let's oh god, let's just try it, I guess. Minus energy. Okay, fantastic. Well, let's use our other one here. Come on, give me that neutral. Hey. So we need 1 more. You've used all your dice for the cycle. You need to end the cycle on your ship. Okay. Let's end our cycle. We're going to scavenge fuel, and hopefully that will actually get us some fuel. We're in trouble, Sleeper. Telephone leans into the berths as you're getting out of your bunk. Without further explanation, he disappears down the corridor towards the rear of the ship. You drift out into the passage, pulling on your clothes, and glide down the length of the ship, the cool air making you shiver. Seraphin is a silhouette, silently leading the way. He stops at the far end, diverting through a side door, shooting you a glance as he does. You find Seraphin inside, holding one of a tangle of arm-thick tubes that are waving in the 0G engine room. You know what these are? Fuel pipes? Seraphin shrugs. Close enough. These are engine feed lines. He waves one in the air. And before you ask, no, they aren't supposed to be waggling loose. What happened? These must have broken loose when we pushed the ship hard on our way out of Darkside. He looks at the mess. We're lucky the reserve tank is empty, otherwise, he shakes his head, it would have been bad. But, he pushes the pipe to the side. No feed from the reserve tank means that the rig's range is limited to local region only. He thumps the large, lumpen housing of the engine. This thing can't take us anywhere far. So we fix it? That's the short of it. Seraphin whacks the engine housing again, harder this time. It's not been our run of luck. He turns and starts gathering the tangled feed lines, his frustration evident in the violence of his movements. We will need a new set of these, that's for sure. He starts forcing them into a crate. How about you try and track them down? I'll take a look at things here and see if I can figure out another fix for the reserve tank. He glances up from his work. From what I've heard, on Hexport, Factory Row is the place to find ship fitters. Maybe you can do some recon while I sort this place out. It's on the other end of the station. Alright, I'll take a look. Seraphin keeps working. Wait, Seraphin pauses, seemingly unsure. There's something else. He drops the feed lines and they float, waving in the air like tubular seaweed. I've heard word that Lane's on the hunt. He frowns. A message went out to everywhere in the local radius of Darkside. He's looking for us. Shit. You said it, Seraphin sighs, which is why we need those feed lines. I'm going to try and work something out. Maybe I can improvise a solution. I don't know. He looks down. I'm no ship fitter. But while I do, you go hunting. See what you can turn up, okay? He smiles a weak smile. Now get out of here. You leave the engine room, the clanking sound of Seraphin's cleanup efforts echoing through the ship. Fuel feed lines. That's the next step. You take a deep breath and head out. You have discovered the drive. Drives help you track and choose your objectives in Citizen Sleeper 2. Press the arrow button to see the drive. You get major and minor. On the completion, a major drive rewards 2 upgrade points, minor rewards 1. Fantastic. We open this up here. Escape Hexport. Lane is hunting you, and Hexport isn't far from Darkside. Refuel, repair, find what you need, and then leave before he finds you. And we're 1 day down. And I would like to question why my crew didn't find any fuel. But we do have more dice. And we have discovered a new location. The warehouses and Factory Row. We were very close to finishing off the Hexport connection. So let's pop a 2 in here. A 50-50 chance. Roll that dice. Nice. As you are gliding across the docking concourse, you hear a scuffle. The noise of raised voices cuts through the conversation, drifting out of the dockside shops. Glancing down an alley, you see a huddle of figures shouting back and forth. You spot one man in the middle of the group, surrounded, pushing the others back as they grab at the bag slung over his shoulder. You don't like the way this looks, but then again, Seraphin told you to keep your head down. We can either rush in, which is a terrible idea, 50-50, neutral and negative, or we can cause a distraction, which has a 25% chance to be positive and a 25% chance to be negative. Let's cause a distraction. And neutral outcome. You look around for something that could break up the fight. See a thick cooling pipes running down the alley wall. You quickly try to understand the system and choose a valve to start spinning. As you do, the system begins to vent in sequence down the alley. Violent jets randomly bursting into the air. There's a scramble in the alley, and you spot the figure who was being attacked drop down to the alley floor. Then, your vision instantly fills with pale liquid as a jet of coolant jumps out nearby, missing you, but sending you spinning in 0G. After a few moments, you manage to steady yourself. As you do, you see a clear alley, the assailants having fled, with one figure gliding towards you. "Hello, Femi. I suppose you think that was clever?" And the man gives you a severe look. "You like to break up fights you didn't start?" He laughs. "Belt's gonna eat you up." He shifts the large bags on his shoulder, weightless but unwieldy in 0G. "I was helping." The man laughs. "Well," he shakes his head. "Thanks, I guess." He kicks off and drifts past you. You watch the man go, and then, after a moment, he stops and turns back. He rubs his forehead, looking down as he does. "What is your deal anyway?" he sighs. "Maybe you are new here, but Hexport is no place for do-gooders." "Yeah, I know what it's like." "To get beat up?" The man shakes his head. "Hexport's got real rough." "Look, let's not hang around, alright?" The man pats his chest. "I'm Femi." He unshoulders one of the bags and pushes it towards you. "Make yourself useful. Let's head." You get the strap of the bag over your shoulder and follow him through the docks, gliding past the concourse towards the connecting bridges. He cuts down the side passage, looking back to check you are following. Then he stops at the docking bridge connecting to a dull green ship with yellow markings. You look out at the viewport window, and its odd catamaran-like shape, seemingly built from two separate hulls welded together. "Symbol crash," he says, and you assume that's the ship's name. "Emma, you bringing in strays?" A young woman, brightly dressed and stretching as she glides, drifts into the passage. She glances at you. "No offence." "Nia," Femi shakes his head. "This one," he squeezes your shoulder, "helped me fend off some Hexport scum while you were busy sunning yourself." Nia raises an eyebrow. "I'm sure you could handle them, big brother." Her glib response hides the flash of concern that passes across her face. You can't tell if Femi noticed. Nia turns to you. "Thanks," she smiles sweetly. "And I am sorry for my brother." She shoots him a glance. "Just in general." "Nia," Femi murmurs. "Enough now." He reaches over and takes the bag you were carrying. Nia rolls her eyes at you but stays silent. "Factory Row wouldn't take these." Femi hefts the bags. "I'm going to load them back up. Maybe we'll find a use for them." He turns back to you. "Thanks for the assist, Sleeper." He nods firmly. "Not what I expected." He slaps the button for the bridge door and kicks off along the docking bridge on his way to the symbol crash. Nia looks at you with raised eyebrows. "I hope my brother was joking. Or did you really help him?" "I tried." "Thank you." He looks back at the ship. "My brother needs help more than he admits." "Oh, it's okay." She pauses, thinking. "I want to ask you something." She takes a deep breath and gives you a direct look. What is she building up to? "Are you looking for a crew?" He looks away. "Sorry to be direct, but you seem like Well, if you're on Hexport, maybe you are with a crew. She stops herself. I mean, maybe your crew needs crew. Maybe you're looking. I am. She struggles to hide her smile. Nia looks back at the ship and then at you. Look, I'll be honest. Being on a crew with my brother is nice, but he is suffocating me. She frowns at her own bluntness. I'm not a kid anymore, you know, but he still sees me like one. She shrugs. I want to show him I can handle myself. I need experience. I need to run some contracts. He gives you a determined look. What do you say? I'll think about it. I'm a good salvager, alright? You can use me. She smiles. I can spot things, find gaps, ways in. She folds her arms across her chest. I know what I'm doing. Femi taught me well. She glances back at the ship. Just consider it, alright? Let me prove myself. Suddenly, a shout comes from the ship, echoing down the passage. Femi. He seems to make both of you nervous. Nia looks in his direction. I should go. He pushes off towards the docking bridge. I'll be waiting. Nia gives you one last glance as she departs, then disappears into the docking bridge, leaving you alone in the passage. Ooh, new local crew available. What does that mean? Can I do something in the operator menu? This is the character screen. Here you can upgrade and configure your sleeper. On the left, you can upgrade your skills to improve skill modifiers. On the right, you can upgrade your push, the unique ability of your class. When upgrading your push, only one upgrade at each level can be active at once. You can configure which upgrade is available while in the hub. Okay. I have 0 points available right now, so it doesn't really help me that much. Okay, well I don't see a... Oh wow, there's a map? I guess there's going to be more places. It makes sense, we have a ship, so I suppose we'll be flying around. Should we go to the warehouses? Or to the factory row? I think the C with the cryo symbol means we can spend money there. Freight loading. The warehouses at the Hexport docks supply the industrial operations of the station, meaning they need constant loading and restocking. Oh, is this a way of making money? Oh, that's bad. That's not a good way for me to make money. Let's go to Factory Row. We can search the row. The factory owners of the row speak mostly in terms of supply and demand, but going door to door might help you find the ship fitter you need. Or I can haul materials. Factory Row is filled with workers hauling materials through its zero-G corridors. Helping might win you some fans among the factories. Endurance again. Intuition is safer, so let's go with intuition. We'll use our low dice first. Nice. You joust a little around scrap contracts, and the factory owners respond well to the haggling, eager to meet your challenges. Let's throw a 6 in here. We're now a trusted supplier. Factory Row howls as you walk through its cramped passages. Whatever its many bays and rooms once were, they now serve as containers for industry of every kind. Whirring manufactories precisely engineer components with rapidly shifting arms, while scrappers hammer incessantly at bent ship plates. Everywhere you look, there is energy and activity, and for good reason. Hexport itself is built on the derelict fragments of a solar reflector, and even the small amount of energy generated by its remaining mirrors is enough to power a city of machines. It is familiar to you, of course, in a strange, far-off way, because of Darkside. That place and your memories of it are a muddy haze, but it is hard to forget the glint of its hexagonal reflectors, 10 or 20 times more in number than Hexport, and that wild, flickering city growing on their back like a tumour. In comparison, Hexport feels provincial. But deep in Factory Row, you could almost be back in Darkside. And then you see them. Tubes just like those Seraphine had waved in your face. The feed lines. You push over to the display window of the unit marked Karsten's Supply, in block capitals cut from hull plate. There, amongst an angled shelf of oversized ship components, sit the feed lines, like some large biomechanical tangle of snakes. Slip inside, where the sound of Factory Row is a little screened, and spot a large figure working at a bench. Hunched over and concentrated, it seems he doesn't notice you enter. Hello? A sharp eye glints as the figure looks over their shoulder. Can I help you? His accent is heavy, but unknown to you. Nice place. You see little reaction from the profile of Karsten's face. He grunts. Something you need? Before you can respond, he tracks your eyes to the feed lines in the window. He looks back at you with a subtly changed expression, one you can't quite place. He turns with surprising grace and begins cleaning his hands on a cloth. Those sharp eyes scan you, but Karsten's thick-set features do not betray the results of his assessment. Custom built those, for a client that never collected. He looks at his hands while he speaks, checking for stray oil stains. You have one of the old MEVs then? He sounds out the letters in a way you don't recognize as he speaks. You try to recall anything you know about your ship, but the memories elude you. Perhaps Seraphine should have come along. I think so? Karsten squints a little. Right. Look. Karsten drifts over to where you are standing, his imposing height evident. For a fellow enthusiast like you, he continues in distinctive monotone, let's say a few hundred cryo on clean chits. He shoots a glance at the feed lines. 400, let's say, to be precise. I don't have 400. Karsten looks you up and down and sniffs. It's expensive, I know. It's a shame, but it's just what they're worth. He screws up his mouth a little, into something that might be a smile. However, I'm more of the bartering type myself anyway. Barter sounds good. Can you do 30? There's a little favour I need, a crew for, and well, you look like you might be a good fit. He tucks the cloth away in a pocket and claps his hands. I know of an old Solheim wreck out there. Real old. Pre-collapse. It's tucked away in a dead zone, so no one has ever really cut it, he shrugs. Not only that, but Solheim derelicts have a habit of triggering nasty security protocols when approached by an unfamiliar ship, though it's been left well alone. But a salvager like you, with an old Solheim rig, I bet it wouldn't even flinch if it saw you coming. He smiles. I have a special interest, a need for that old tech. All those Solheim ships have a data core, and while I don't care about the accounting reports or material ledgers or whatever they kept on the damn thing, I do care about the hardware. So, if I was to find you back here, with that data core in your cargo hold, clean cut and complete, well, then I could see my way to doing a straight barter for those feed lines. Karsten pauses, sniffs at the air again. You just need the coordinates. Why do you want it? Special interest? You wait for more, but his flat expression tells you it isn't coming. So, you interested? He glances back at his workbench, because I'm a busy man. Sure. Alright then. He holds out a heavy hand for you to shake, and as you automatically reach out, he grabs your forearm instead. Karsten pulls you closer, squeezing your arm. Let's keep this one between us, alright? He half smiles, his face huge and close. It's our deal. Before you can respond, he thumbs a little drive into your palm. Those coordinates. And then he lets go of your arm, with what you swear is a wink. You take a moment to gather yourself, and by the time you do, a whirring fills the air. Carsten, having returned to his workbench. You turn and glide out of Carsten's supply with a growing mix of anxiety and excitement in the pit of your stomach, and the cacophony of Factory Row in your ears. A contract? Seraphine might even be impressed. You look at the drive in your palm and smile. This could be a route out. You think of leaving this place behind in possession of an improved ship, too. Suddenly, a small but firm hand falls on your back, an equally small voice coming with it. Hey, wait up! You turn in the passage to see a young woman, her hair waving from the rapid glide she clearly just came out of to catch you. She steadies herself using your shoulder. Sorry. She smiles a quick and flat smile. Wanted to catch you. I'm Junie. Her dark eyes flick around nervously. You notice the portable terminal she carries, something data scrapers call a deck, and her backpack full of components and trailing wires. What's up? Carsten, she starts, still catching her breath. He sent me to grab you. She smiles that flat smile again. Wants me to come with you on that job. Her eyes shoot down to the drive in the palm of your hand. He smiles again. Why didn't he tell me? He glances back towards Carsten's. I guess he forgot? He does that sometimes. She looks sheepishly at you. He just grabbed me after you two were talking, so... Carsten's always sending me on things like this. I guess he wants me to help you out. Keep an eye on things. He pauses. I can be pretty helpful. So, she looks around the passage. Should I meet you at your ship? And you can tell me when you're ready to go? Sure. Okay, great. Her eyes light up. She notices she still has her hand on your shoulder and takes it off. Junie pushes off and waves. Looking forward to working with you. She calls back as an afterthought. What about the ship? Oh, I'll find it. She calls back and then disappears down the passage. You watch her go. Glad of the contract, but nervous too. Will Carsten keep up his side of the bargain if you deliver? Oh, I don't know about this, sleeper. Seraphine looks nervously out of the rig's window as you finish explaining Carsten's deal, as well as Junie's offer to help. If this job was easy, Carsten would have done it himself already. That means there's a catch. He frowns at the stars, and there's definitely something going on with this Junie girl. He shakes his head. You would be useful, though. No doubt. Seraphine shakes his head. And we desperately need help on a job like this. What if, Seraphine narrows his eyes, we could get a cryo together to buy the feed lines? Is that even possible? I found a contract in the exchange further in station. He gestures towards Hexport. We take on a job that might get us most of the way towards buying those feed lines. Plus, even if we do want to take Carsten's job, a bit of money to get ourselves prepared wouldn't be a bad idea. Fill up on fuel, supplies, be ready for whatever comes. Do we have time? Probably not, but without cryo for fuel and supplies, we aren't going anywhere. Seraphine sighs. Just take a look at the contract board and see what you think. While you're at it, you might want to see if you can scare up some freelance crew too. Seraphine shrugs. Any hands make light work and all that. Or we stop messing around. We take Carsten's job right now and get it done before he can think twice. Seraphine yawns. Seems like a whole set of bad options to me. Either way, I've still got work to do on the drive. Seraphine nods a farewell, heading back to the engine room. Let me know what you decide. For a moment, you pause, letting the haze of plans and ideas settle in your mind. Suddenly, you curl up, pain shooting along your spine. You grit your teeth, your muscles locked tight, your vision narrows as you squeeze your eyes shut. You feel a shift, as if some connection has broken. It's almost impossible to describe, like you're floating away from your body, dispersing, dissolving. There is nothing familiar in the pain, nothing to hold on to. You grit your teeth. And then another shift comes and you are back in your body, trembling against the metal wall of the passage. The pain slowly fades, becoming a pulsing throb and then a residual flicker. You flex in 0G, stretching out the tension. It's a strange sensation of distance that persists beyond the pain, a disconnection between your body and yourself, a flickering numbness that refuses to recede. You wonder if the reboot has done something to your body, or if this is some new sensation you will have to live with indefinitely. It strikes you that you know so little about the body that houses you. It could be moments away from collapse, or it might persevere for countless cycles like this. You try to shake off the feeling, pushing your hands against each other until they feel like they are yours again. Time is the only thing you need, and right now, it feels like it's running out fast. You head for the airlock. You have work to do. We've unlocked a contract. Open the map screen to look at it. Contracts are high-risk, high-reward jobs that you and your crew can take on. Contracts require preparation and care to succeed. You'll need to gather fuels, gather supplies, look for crew, consider which crew to take carefully. They have different skills and stress resistances. Once you're ready, you can select the contract from the map and your crew to proceed. So if I just click this. Oh. I need 3 fuel, which we have none of. We did, however, get an upgrade point, I believe. Yeah, we did. I actually don't know what to get here. We need 4 points for all of these. We have 1, and we need 2 for all of these, so I guess we're not upgrading at all. But I didn't realize this demo was going to be this long. I've been going for an hour now. I don't know if it saves. It says it saves. I don't know. If it does, I may do another episode on this. I hadn't planned on doing more than just 1 episode to show off the demo, show off Citizen Sleeper 2, but I'm kind of getting a little bit hooked. A small part of me wants to wait for the full release and just obviously do the series on the channel again. So I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully this gives you a good idea of what Citizen Sleeper 2 is about. It seems like Citizen Sleeper 1, plus a load of cool stuff to do with a spaceship and crew. The writing seems fantastic. The overall playstyle is exactly the same with dice. Our skills seem to have way more of a meaning now, separate checks and stuff. I'm hooked and I'm excited and I want to play the full game. But I am going to thank you all very much for watching. I'm going to end this episode here. If you want more Citizen Sleeper and you haven't seen my original playthrough of Citizen Sleeper, I thoroughly encourage you to go check it out. We played the whole thing. We did a few of the different endings. But like, subscribe, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you again to the members of the channel and the coffee supporters. And as always, I'll see you next time.